All right, looks like we are set to go. My name is Barbara Griffin. Good morning, everybody. This is the first meeting of the New Hampshire House Special Committee on Redistricting. This is a meeting that was noticed for this morning at 10 o'clock. I apologize. We are a couple of minutes late getting actually started here today. We have bills listed in the calendar to be heard. The reality is, as we proceed into our hearing, there's sort of limited action that we've got available to us on the bills this morning. But before we begin any of that, I'm going to do the little preamble that we need to do for electronic meetings here in the state. And there is a sign-up sheet for this committee meeting and the bills being heard. The sign-up sheets stop at 8 a.m. this morning as far as the committee proceeds, but you will be able to continue to sign up until 11:59 tonight. There will be the opportunity for a public hearing at the end of the presentation of the bills. And there's a process for being recognized on the Zoom platform, so members are aware. It is my understanding that no one has signed up in regards to this meeting this morning. As chair of the Special Committee on Redistricting, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with House Rule 67 and the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. This is a public hearing on the bills that are referred to committee, and they have been scheduled in the House calendar for today. An executive session may be held on any bill referred to the committee. Please note that there is no physical location for members of the public to observe and listen contemporaneously, and all members are attending electronically. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that all members of the committee and select legislative staff have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the Zoom electronic meeting platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting by the Zoom platform or by telephone. All necessary access information has been made available in the House calendar and through the electronic calendar on the General Court website. The notice for this meeting does comply with House rules and RSA 91A. Anyone who has a problem accessing this meeting, please call 271-3600 or email hcs@leg.state.nh.us. And in the event we learn that the public is unable to access this meeting, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that any votes taken during this meeting will be done by roll call vote, and we're going to start that process by taking a roll call attendance. And when each person states they're present, I'm going to ask that they state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Representative McDonald has kindly agreed to do the roll call this morning for me, so I'm going to ask Representative McDonald to do that at this time.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chairman. Representative Griffin.
I am present and alone.
Representative Steve Smith.
I am in room 113 at the State House. There is one staff member here.
Thank you. Representative McGuire.
Present at my home in Epsom. My husband is not here now, but he may be later.
Thank you. Representative Turcott.
Representative Turcott is here at home. My wife is in her office at the other end of the house.
Thank you. Representative McDonald is present. Representative Lynn.
Yes, I'm present in my home in Wyndham. My wife, no one else is in the room, but my wife is elsewhere in the house.
Thank you. And by the way, Representative McDonald is home alone. Representative Berry.
Yes, I am here in Manchester in my office. My fiance is upstairs doing her work from home job.
Thank you.
I will just note his fiance, soon to be wife.
Representative O'Hara.
I am here. I'm in my office alone.
Thank you. Representative Cody.
I'm here and I'm at home and I'm alone.
Thank you. Representative Smith.
I'm in Durham alone.
Thank you. Representative Bergeron.
In accordance with the governor's emergency order, I'm participating remotely from my home in Nashua. There is no one in the room with me at the present time.
Thank you. Representative Lane.
Yes, I'm here in Concord in my home office. I'm alone in the office. There are two other people in the house.
Thank you. And I hope I pronounced his name right. Representative Piedro.
That's correct. Present and alone in the room.
Thank you. Representative Weber.
I'm present. I'm in the Walpole Town Hall where I'm also serving as a ballot clerk. So there are many, many people, but I fled upstairs in hopes of being alone in the room till we're finished with the meeting here. Thank you.
Thank you. And Representative Wilhelm.
Present and alone in the room. The rest of my family's upstairs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All members are present.
Thank you very much, Representative McDonald, for doing that. And thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you to Representative Weber for serving at the town elections, which are going on in many communities today. I will be at the polls in Goffstown shortly after this meeting for the rest of the day. So I know a lot of your communities do have things, and I will say, if I could please take the liberty of saying, good morning, Representative Smith. It's nice to see you on Zoom in the flesh and not in the picture. So I got to get that picture background figured out, but good morning.
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you, Madam Chair.
Thanks. All right. Let's see. So the purpose of the meeting that has been scheduled has been to officially receive the bills for redistricting before this special committee, before deadlines. There's been some change to the deadlines, but this hearing was scheduled before that was known. The reality is that I think most of you know we have no redistricting data to use to begin our work. That is not expected to be available till September. I think the official federal word is sort of on or before September 30th. I think the initial release dates were expected to be April. So it has significantly impacted the time frame that we have to do the work. And as a result, while the rules require us to take this bill into committee, there really is nothing that we can do on it before our deadlines for action to be voted on by the floor. It is my hope that we can receive the bills, retain them, and see if there's anybody attending who wants to make a comment, and then have a brief discussion about scheduling a meeting where we discuss what's going to happen in regards to consideration of these bills in the future, from a scheduling standpoint for the committee, at which time we can get into discussion of how we're going to proceed, because I want to proceed as a committee with everybody involved. So with that, we are scheduled to hear HB 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, and 55 at 10 a.m. They all relate to apportioning districts. I am the prime sponsor on these bills. I want to thank Representative Smith. I am going to defer to Representative Smith for the introduction of these bills. Welcome, Representative Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the committee for hearing me today. I'm Representative Stephen Smith, Sullivan County District 11, towns of Ackworth, Goshen, Langdon, Leominster, and Washington. I'm here to introduce the bills that our chair has graciously prepared for us. House Bill 50, apportioning state representative districts. House Bill 51, apportioning state Senate districts. House Bill 52, apportioning congressional districts. House Bill 53, apportioning executive council districts. House Bill 54, apportioning county commissioner districts, and House Bill 55, apportioning delegates to state party conventions. My understanding is that the text of the bills as written and presented to the committee represent the current state of redistricting, since we don't have anything to work with yet. And I urge the committee to retain all 6 bills so that we have vehicles to do our work throughout the year. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Smith. Does anybody have any questions for Representative Smith? Is there anybody in attendance who would like to make a comment? I do see a couple of hands, Ms. Zink and Ms. Tentarelli. I do see you, but I'm going to sort of ask my tech support. It does not appear that I am listed as a co-host, and I cannot recognize. I'm up. Thank you very much. Now I can. Great. Ms. Zink, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, members of the committee, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on the redistricting bill. For the record, my name is Olivia Zink. I'm the executive director of a nonpartisan, pro-voter nonprofit Open Democracy Action based in Concord, and I live in Franklin. I do want to tell you that your link for sign up for the hearing was not working. So the reason you have no one signed up is because there was no ability on the website for community members to sign up. Today, 30 towns around New Hampshire will be voting on a resolution for fair redistricting at their ballot at town meeting. 4 cities have passed this resolution, as well as the town of Durham Town Council, by large margins. I think this is an issue that's important to everyone, and while we don't need to dwell on what happened 10 years ago, I think it's important that this committee understand the history and work as well as they can for a fair, nonpartisan redistricting process, free from using partisan data for the years, for the next 10 years. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Zink, for Mayor Zink?
I have a question.
Representative Lane.
Could you provide a copy of that resolution or whatever you referenced to the committee? Just email it, or have you already done so and I just missed it?
No, I'm happy to email the communities, and I'm happy to email you the one that the city of Franklin passed.
Okay.
As well. But I think as cities, I'll just speak from the city perspective. Our city lines are in our charter, and with the data that are coming out September 30th, there will be no ability for our city and the city of Franklin to amend our charter, which is an October election, before you do your work. So we will probably be doing that in a different time frame. So I think with the delay in the data this year, we'll also have to think about how do the municipal lines that have to be drawn play into your work as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Zink? Okay, thank you for being here this morning. Also with their hand raised to speak to the committee is Liz Tentarelli. Good morning, Ms. Tentarelli. If you unmute, I think you're with us.
Thank you for this opportunity. I too realized that there was no way for us to sign up ahead of time to speak. And I just sent you email, Representative Griffin, to that effect. But I do want to thank all of you for being willing to serve on this very important committee. I know it's going to be a tremendous job that you have to do. I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. Liz Tentarelli. I'm president of the League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan organization. And I want to assure you that the League stands ready to do its part in helping you in any way we can, whether that is publicizing open meetings that you're going to hold to get input, or just letting voters know about the work that you're doing. I have great confidence that this committee will be open and transparent in its work. They will solicit input from municipal and county officials to find communities of interest and other areas of concern. So I wish you all the best, and I look forward to your meeting when you actually start doing the work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Is there anybody who has a question for Ms. Tentarelli? I'm not seeing any, so Thank you very much for speaking. At this time, I'd like to ask whether there's anybody else in attendance. I see 16 people have logged on to this meeting. And if anybody else would like to say anything, if you could raise your hand, we would certainly recognize you. All right, Representative McGuire, did you have something?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is something that happened in the previous redistricting, which I know about only peripherally. And it's a policy decision that we need to make before we actually start crunching numbers. I live in one of 3 towns on the edge of Merrimack County. The populations add up to 4, well within the 5 plus or minus 5%. Each of the 3 towns has enough population for at least 1 representative. But last redistricting, we determined that because of the plus or minus 5% on floatarials, instead of having 1 district in each of the 3 towns with 1 representative and 1 in the float, we ended up with 2 of the towns being combined in a base district and the 3rd one separate and then 1 in the float. And people who were working on the previous redistricting told me that if 12 people had moved from the larger town to the smaller town, we could have gotten the 1-1-1 plus a float, which many of the people in the towns would prefer. And I determined that that was because of the way the plus or minus 5% from 1 man, 1 vote was being applied to floatarials. And I think that in this case, the result was not what most of the people would have wanted. It violates our constitutional provision that every town that's big enough has its own representative. And therefore, I think we as a committee should be looking at how we do those calculations so it doesn't happen again to somebody else.
Thank you. I know that I myself come from a town that's part of a flotarial. I think that the census data will be quite interesting because I think there has been a big change in population in the state over the last 10 years. And we are very fortunate to have with us someone who actually was part of the prior process, as far as I know, and that would be Representative Weber. And Representative Weber, I see that you have your hand up. Please join us with audio.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just to add to the thoughts of the prior speaker, I will note that I am in a 4-member, 4-town district, which after our constitutional amendment that said that each town that had more than the magic number, which was 3,291 the last time around, would get their own representative. My district actually got larger as a result of that. I now represent 4 towns, one of which takes me nearly an hour to get to the other end of. And we too are in a clump where 3 of us are entitled to our own reps, but there is a possibility that the town of Westmoreland could elect 4 representatives and the other 3 towns have none. So I just put that into the mix as yet another issue where we are going to find that we are unable to satisfy both the New Hampshire Constitution, which requires us, each town that has the requisite number, to have its own representation, and the federal requirement that each person's vote weighs equally. And that's because we choose not to do census districts when most every other state does. Many other states, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's a fact of life that we're going to have to grapple with. And I just throw that out there as another fish to be dealt with. Thank you.
Well, and Representative Weber, thank you for your experience and your ability to just recall the 3,491 number, because of course we can expect that number to change because the population has of course changed. So individually, we're all going to be looking at a district that it's going to be probably unlikely that it stays exactly the same just by virtue of the population growth and shift that's occurred over the last 10 years. So that, of course, is going to be a discussion on the committee, not only between us, but with our constituents. In regards to that, there has been much talk about a public hearing process. I will tell you that I'm aware that there were complaints about the public hearing process that occurred last time. I don't really know. There was a complaint that they were sort of hearings with no data. This is going to create a dilemma for the committee, because if we don't have any data till September and we need to do something for next year, really, how are we going to go about our work? And we're going to be able to follow that's meaningful for everybody. And I think, quite frankly, that's a meeting in and of itself, just to discuss the options that are out there and how we proceed. So while we have bills in front of us that I'll be looking for to retain on so we can continue our work on them, I would like to have some discussion about when, given the calendar for the House that we have right now and what we expect coming, frankly, I am not looking at a next meeting of this committee for it till after mid-April with the things that are going on. And I just want to know, sort of from a committee standpoint, does anybody have any specific considerations that should be taken into account in regards to scheduling? Representative Weber.
I don't, but I do note that scheduling this term is much more difficult because we do not have dedicated days on which our committees meet. And my committee meets Mondays and Fridays occasionally, which were the days that used to be protected for special committees. So scheduling is going to be a complete nightmare, but like everybody else on the screen here, I have no idea what my schedule is going to be until Thursday afternoon of the week before when the calendar comes out. So that's going to be a challenge for you, Madam Chair. And
All
I
right,
look
well,
forward to working.
We'll figure out and try to do the best we can. I anticipate, at least for our committee work initially, it's probably going to continue as the Zoom platform. It gives us flexibility to participate. Representative Weber would appear to be the best example of how to be flexible and do it today. Representative Bergeron, I noticed you had your hand up. I'm sorry, I did not recognize you. Were you all set, or did you want to say something?
Well, I think I just wanted to share a little information to build upon what Ms. Zink said about some of the problems with cities. I did the redistricting in Nashua in 2001 and 2011. And in both instances, the ward data provided by the US Census Bureau, their ward boundaries did not follow our actual ward boundaries. And as a result, we used the US Census data to create our ward lines, only to find out we had to go back to the voters of Nashua to redraw those lines after GIS showed us that some of the census tracts that the Census Bureau belonged in one ward were actually covering two wards. Manchester had the same problem. I don't know if it occurred in both 2011 and 2001, but again, the census boundaries didn't match up with the actual ward boundaries. In most instances, the cities can deal with that internally in their own redistricting for their ward lines. But if there are floterials that cross over into cities, that's going to be a concern, I think, as well for our committee.
Thank you for that information. Representative Lynn.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I guess the only question I had, in light of the fact that the census data will not be available until September, I guess don't get me wrong. You tell me when to be there, and I'll be there. But I'm not quite sure I understand what will be the purpose of the meetings you were talking about having, for example, in April and May. If we don't have the data, what are we going to do at those meetings?
Representative Lynn, thank you for the question. I think there needs to be a discussion with the committee about the process. Welcome to the New Hampshire House this year. Redistricting is not a new issue for anybody who has been in this House for the last few sessions. It has been a subject of legislation now for a few sessions, with different results from different sessions. And there has been much input into the process that should be followed. And it is my belief that if we wait until we have the data to discuss how we are proceeding, we will be spending more time with each other than anybody else in our lives come October 1st. So it is my hope that we can, as a committee, come together with some sort of a process as to how to proceed. And it might be that while public hearings without data were a complaint apparently of the last session, given our ability to do it on the Zoom platform, we might want to have some input into the issue of communities and their representation as to the flotarial issues. So we have some background on individual communities. I can tell you on the election law committee, we have heard for a few sessions from members of communities who got sucked into a flotarial in the last redistricting, and as a result effectively felt they lost their representatives. So I think those kind of things can be heard without necessarily having the actual data in front of us. Representative Smith.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I believe you're recognizing me. I just want to point out that with two Smiths on the committee, you're going to have to train yourselves to decide or to include a first name or some other way of differing which Smith you're calling on.
Never occurred to me till you said that. Thank you.
I fortunately realized you hadn't asked me to introduce the bills, so I knew that was Representative Stephen Smith. I want to second enthusiastically what the chair just said. We have process and we have substance. At the moment, the substance is just not available to us. At the moment that it is, we're going to want to be ready to go on. There are all kinds of process decisions that this committee could, and I believe should, make. One of them that's been mentioned several times is the importance of having meaningful public input, and where in fact we do have public hearings where there is data for the public to evaluate. That we can't do until we have the data. But in terms of process, there's a lot that we can do. We can try to develop guidelines about flotarial districts. We can gather guidelines about public input. We can gather guidelines about the factors that we want to include when we set up lines. We can look at the constitutional requirements and see both national and state and see what we want to do to make sure that we have districts that conform as closely as possible to city and town lines. We know we can't cross counties. That I think is a rule that we're all willing to observe for the House, although obviously not for the Senate or executive or for any of the others. But if we could get a lot of those process questions through this committee and have a sense of where we want to go before we are influenced even by the specific numbers, I think we would be sending a message to the public and to ourselves that we really want this to be as fair and open a process as is possible. And so I commend the chair for recognizing that process is important and we can have that under our belt, so to speak, before we get the first number. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Marjorie Smith. Anybody else on the committee? All right. We have before us 6 bills that have been introduced, HB 50 through 55. Representative Stephen Smith, would you have a motion?
Yes, and well, first inquiry of the chair.
Certainly.
Should the motion be for all 6 bills, or do you prefer to take them up one at a time?
Pam, you're on. I'm going to defer to you.
Really?
Yes.
I've never seen a group vote on multiple bills at the same time.
Fair enough.
I know
All right.
it sounds like you're gonna do the exact same thing 6 times in a row, but.
So I apologize, Representative McDonald. If you want to take that attendance sheet out, you're going to need to go through it apparently 6 more times for me. Thank you very much for. I will tell the committee that we have begun the process with the clerk's office and administrative services as to what kind of support is going to be available to this committee. I don't know if your committees that you serve on have had any emails from constituents. I can tell you the election law committee has had a few. And as a result, the work of the clerk on that committee has expanded exponentially from what it has been in prior years, dealt only with paper input. So I will be working with those offices at the House to find out what kind of support we can get, but in anticipation that we will have a significant amount of electronic input. Representative McDonald, are you set with the sheet to take a roll if Representative Smith makes a motion?
I am, yes, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Smith for a motion, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that House Bill 50 be retained.
Is there a second to that motion? Representative McGuire seconds it. I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll, and I would just remind members that when you vote, the rule, as I understand it, is I need to actually see you. And so when your name is called, if you can just click on the video, that would be great. So Representative McDonald, if you want to proceed. Representative Weber, question?
Could the clerk very kindly or the chair announce the title of the bill that we are voting on?
Sure. The bill on the floor is HB 50, that is apportioning state representative districts. And if the clerk could call the roll.
Representative Smith.
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's Representative Stephen Smith. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Turcott. Representative Turcott.
Could you unmute? Thank you.
Yeah, I was using my space bar, didn't work. Yes.
Representative McDonald votes yes. Representative Lynn.
Yes.
Representative Berry.
Yes.
Representative O'Hara.
Yes.
Representative Cody.
Yes.
Representative Marjorie Smith.
Yes.
Representative Bergeron.
Yes.
Representative Lane.
Yes.
Representative Piedra.
Yes.
Representative Weber.
Yes.
Representative Wilhelm.
Yes.
And Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Vote carries 15-0.
HB 50 will be reported as retained by the committee. Representative Smith, Stephen Smith, do you have a motion?
You, Madam Chair, thank you. I move that House Bill 51, apportioning state Senate districts, be retained.
Is there a second? Representative Turcott. Representative Lane, did you have a question?
Yes, Madam Chair. Point of order, do we need to be in executive session to vote, or I'm still learning the process, so I just.
The court calendar has allowed us to take the notice for the calendar allows us to executive committees. We try not to do it the same day as a public hearing, but we are permitted under the notice rules to do it.
Okay, I just didn't know if you had to announce it at that time.
Oh, as I didn't actually say executive session, excuse me for not specifically saying we're in executive session for the purposes of considering bills. we are in executive session. Thank you for making that clear on the record.
I just didn't want to have somebody raise it after we're all done and have to go through this again.
Well, okay. It's a good way to control the issues, though, don't you think? All right, there's been a motion on the floor to retain HB 51. It represented by Representative Turcott. Is there any comment on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, I'll ask the Representative McDonald to call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Representative Stephen Smith,
Yes.
Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Turcott,
Yes.
Representative McDonald votes yes. Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Barry,
Yes.
Representative O'Hara,
Yes.
Representative Cody,
Yes.
Representative Smith, Marjorie
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
I'll learn. Representative Bergeron,
Yes.
Representative Lane,
Yes.
Representative Piedra,
Yes.
Representative Weber,
Yes.
Representative Wilhelm,
Yes.
and Representative Griffin.
Yes,
15-0, Madam Chairman.
thank you. Representative Stephen Smith, do you have a motion in this executive session on the Special Committee on Redistricting?
You, Madam Chair, thank you. I move that House Bill 52, apportioning congressional districts, be retained.
Is there a second?
I'll second, Madam Chairman.
Representative McDonald, second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Representative McDonald.
Representative Stephen Smith. I'm
Yes.
sorry, did somebody have a question?
No, I apologize to the committee. I was chuckling because Representative McGuire's husband, the Honorable McGuire, appeared on screen. I'm not sure that constitutes as photobombing, but it was still something that I picked up.
Okay, sorry for the
Continue.
interruption. Representative Stephen Smith,
Yes.
Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Turcott,
Yes.
Representative McDonald votes yes. Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Barry,
Yes.
Representative O'Hara,
Yes.
Thank you.
Representative Cody,
Yes.
Thank you.
Representative Marjorie Smith,
Yes.
Representative Bergeron,
Yes.
Representative Lane,
Yes.
Representative Piedra,
Yes.
Representative Weber,
Yes.
Representative Wilhelm,
Yes.
15-0, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Representative McDonald. Representative Smith, do you have a motion?
I do, Madam Chair. I move that House Bill 53, apportioning executive council districts, be retained.
Is there a second? Representative McGuire seconds. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask Representative McDonald to call the roll.
Representative Stephen Smith,
Yes.
Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Turcott,
Yes.
Representative McDonald votes yes. Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Barry,
Yes.
Representative O'Hara,
Yes.
Representative Cody,
Yes.
Representative Marjorie Smith,
Yes.
Representative Bergeron,
Yes.
Representative Lane,
Yes.
Representative Piedra,
Excuse me, yes.
Representative Weber.
Yes.
Yes. you
Yes.
said? Okay. Representative Wilhelm
Yes.
and Representative Griffin,
Yes,
15-0, Madam Chairman.
thank you. Representative Smith, do you have a motion?
You, Madam Chair, thank you. I move that House Bill 54, apportioning county commissioner districts, be retained.
Is there a second? Representative Turcott seconds. Is there any discussion on the motion before the committee, which is to retain HB 54, apportioning county commissioner districts? I'm seeing none. If Representative McDonald could call the roll, please.
Representative Stephen Smith,
Yes.
Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Turcott,
Yes.
Representative McDonald votes yes. Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Barry,
Yes.
Representative O'Hara,
Yes.
Representative Cody,
Yes.
Representative Marjorie Smith,
Yes.
Representative Bergeron,
Yes.
Representative Lane,
Yes.
Representative Piedra,
Yes.
Representative Weber,
Yes.
Representative Wilhelm,
Yes.
and Representative Griffin.
Yes,
15-0, Madam Chairman.
thank you. Representative Smith, do you have a motion?
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that House Bill 55, apportioning delegates to state party conventions, be retained.
Is there a second? Representative McGuire seconds. Is there any discussion on the motion? Motion is to retain HB 55. Seeing none, I'll ask Representative McDonald to please call the roll.
Representative Stephen Smith,
Yes.
Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Turcott,
Yes.
Representative McDonald votes yes. Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Barry,
Yes.
Representative O'Hara,
Yes.
Representative Cody,
Yes.
Representative Marjorie Smith,
Yes.
Representative Bergeron,
Yes.
Representative Lane,
Yes.
Representative Piedra,
Yes.
Representative Weber,
Yes.
and Representative Wilhelm,
Yes.
and Representative Griffin.
Yes,
15-0, Madam Chairman.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. HB 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, and 55 will be reported to the clerk's office as being retained. I have not checked with the clerk's office on this particular item that I'm going to say, but I want to congratulate you all as being part of a committee that has just taken 6 unanimous votes in a row. It is the first for me. I suspect it's the first for many of you this session. So there you go.
Maybe that's a sign of things to come on this.
Who knows? Who knows? Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to bring before the committee this morning?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd just like to say nothing I've done today should have stopped me from objecting should you choose once again to take up bills on the same day. I haven't abandoned my objection to that.
Thank you, Representative Cody, for reminding me. I appreciate consistency in legislators and legislation whenever I can find it, and I can count on you for that. So thank you very much. All right, I want to thank you all for joining us. There will be a notice, as I said, for a meeting to start the process discussion as Representative Marjorie Smith discussed. I just want to say, Representative Weber, have a good day at the polls. And for those of you in your communities, many of you have a voting day, go vote. So thank you very much, everybody. Representative Weber. You need to unmute.
Thank you. I'm operating on my lap, so the space bar is working, but only when I press really firmly. I just wanted to make a plea that before you schedule the next hearing, you also discuss with your fellow chairs as to when they're going to be meeting, because as we know, they are going to be meeting every day of the week. And as somebody who has chaired a second committee in the past, it's very helpful when people are not stuck trying to go to 2 meetings at the same time. It will help our deliberative process and would be very much appreciated. when you get around to the scheduling. Thank you.
Thank you. We will do our best. There is a Zoom license quantity number. We have to pass the bar to get in the door, and then we'll check to see what you all have scheduled. We'll do our best. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you to the attendees for being here with us this morning, and all of you have a great day. I hear it's nice and sunny out. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.